This episode is brought to you by the Your Next Chapter Business Club. It provides community, resources, coaching, and training for women in business. In fact, everything you need so you can confidently grow you and your business each and every month. The club is now open and I would love to welcome you in. You can find out more details at angelaraspass.com/club. Inspiration, clarity, confidence, and wholehearted business strategy. Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the podcast especially for women in their 40s and beyond who know that business and personal development go hand in hand. Tune in each week for marketing, mindset, and personal growth strategies, along with inspiring stories from women around the world who are creating new businesses and lives that are personally fulfilling and financially rewarding. If you're looking to create a business and life you love, you're in great company. Let's find out what will unfold in your next chapter. I'm your host, Angela Raspass, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Hello there and welcome to another episode of the Your Next Chapter podcast. This is Angela Raspass, your host. This is actually the first in a series of episodes that are all revolving around the topic of purpose and passion and reinvention. I've brought together a wonderful bunch of women who are going to be sharing their experiences in this area. How I often talk about how next chapter businesses are built on skinned knees, things that happen to us that can suddenly open a door to a new way of looking at the world, a new opportunity, a new desire to interact in a different way. And this quite often comes down to like a pivot or a revitalization of your business. Now, I'm a huge believer that in your next chapter, which is, when you're hitting your 40s and beyond, that is when this real desire to be in alignment with your purpose becomes even more important. But here's the tricky thing. We can get so tied up in knots about what purpose actually means. I think we could spend half of our lives looking for that concept of purpose. And so I want to share some insights with you that I think will help if you find yourself in that position where it's like, what's my purpose? What is my thing in life? Look, this happens throughout life. Let's be honest. We start really questioning it when I think as teenagers. I seem to remember many an angst-driven night sitting in my room back in Pukekohe in New Zealand, writing in my journal, what am I here for? What is my purpose? And here I am getting close to 50, and that question has still loomed large in my experiences. But I've got a lot clearer on it these days, and that's because I've simplified it. And I want to do that for you as well. So I know listening to the conversations over the next 6 weeks is certainly going to help getting these different perspectives from women who really feel that they have stepped into their purpose for different reasons in different ways. And certainly that purpose is unfolding and expressing itself quite uniquely for each of the women, just as it will be for you. But it's great to hear these stories of where people have come from and are going to, because it encourages you to see what's possible for you. So I'm really looking forward to sharing these chats with you. But I wanted to come in first and give you some of my own insights. So I started to look up, what does purpose actually mean? Well, you can go to the good old dictionary, which when you're looking upon it as a noun, it's seen as the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. Yeah, maybe that could resonate with you. This is the reason I was made for this. But a second definition is a person's sense of resolve or determination. Like, I am on purpose. I'm going to make this thing happen. This is really important to me. The synonym, or rather the definition they give here, goes a little further. There was a new sense of purpose in her step as she set off. Just giving you an example, and that one really resonates with me. But there's another part to this when we look upon purpose as a verb, which is to have as one's intention or objective. That one resonates with me as well. So purpose really, I think, as we move into these next chapters, is all about fulfilment and contribution. I feel most on purpose when I am being of value and of usefulness to another person. Someone that I'm serving in my business, absolutely, but it is part of that bigger picture of life as well. Now, I think it's increasingly important as we move into the second part of our life, I guess. I think that one of the people that really described this well, and I'm just grabbing a book off my desk, was good old Wayne Dyer. I picked up this book some time ago. It was called The Shift, Taking Your Life from Ambition to Meaning. And there's where I think it really pivots around. As we get to this stage in life, we really begin to realize what's most important to us. We begin to move out of, I believe, that real consumer-driven, success-driven, it's got to look this way and be this way. And we tend to fall back more into this internal drive rather than the external validation. And that internal drive comes from that real desire to contribute, to feel a sense of significance and meaning, that what we're doing really has value. And I think it's got a little bit to do with the fact we feel the clock has begun to tick and we really want to make a difference whilst we're here. Now, there are so many other books and resources that you can delve into. A favourite of mine is Finding Your Own North Star. That's another book which I really, really enjoy. It's by Martha Beck. I'll put the links to these books and other things on the page of this podcast as well, which I think will be helpful. There's another fellow who talks about, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? And that's another quote that last piece really resonates, because I believe most of us want to feel as though what we're doing has purpose. It has impact and significance. So that's really why it's so important to us. So how do you find it? Well, this is a lot to do with turning on your awareness. And there was a little trick in what I said there. How do you find your purpose? I actually think it's got a lot more to do with uncovering your purpose, because it's there. It's been there all along. It just starts to express itself in different ways throughout your life. And this is where, if you look back, you will find connecting threads, things that you have always done, things that you have always been aligned with, which was your way of purpose expressing itself. For example, I believe that my purpose at this stage in my life is to every person that I come in touch with, that I have some sort of interaction with, they will feel a little bit better about themselves. They will feel an increase in their self-belief that they can do the thing that they most want to do. Now that point of inspiring people, it's been a part of my story from the very beginning. If I look back at when I was at school, that's the sort of thing that I was always trying to do. If I look at my role in the recovery movement when I'm sharing my story, that's the thing that I'm always trying to do. I had a wonderful experience a few years ago with a very good friend up in Queensland. We were in a bookstore in Malini, and in that store I noticed a young woman who was pulling I Want to Stop Smoking, How to Quit Smoking books off the shelf and having a look through them. And I was compelled to go and have a conversation with her about her journey there, because I'm an ex-smoker and what I actually had to go through to become an ex-smoker. And I talked to her about the fact that she could do this thing, and I talked to her about her fears and just really encouraged her. And my girlfriend watched me, I knew all this retrospectively, and said, "You're doing it again. That's what you're here to do. It's to help other people believe that they can." And that just was another reinforcement. So there's many, many examples all through my life that show me that that is my purpose. Now I'm expressing it in a new way today in terms of the next chapter business mentoring that I'm doing, the masterminds, the retreats, all that type of thing. But at the crux of all of that is having women understand and believe that they can do the thing they want to do. So what is it for you? Can you look back and find those connecting threads to help you try and uncover what it is that feels really resonant with you? When I sit back and I consider that feeling of purpose, it absolutely makes sense to me. It feels good, it feels light, but it also feels deep. Sounds a bit funny describing them in those ways, but both, it lightens me up, it energizes me, and it feels as though it has deep meaning. Now those are clues. They come through the body barometer, that when you feel that way, then yes, you're on purpose. Now, I think we're always looking for it, but as I said, it intensifies as we're getting older. And I was sitting down the other day as I was preparing for this podcast series and going through all the different applications of people that I could have these conversations with. And it occurred to me that I could put some of these thoughts into a resource for you, which is exactly what I've done. I put together a wee ebook which has a whole lot of exercises and questions that I really encourage you to have a look at and to journal on if this is something that you're looking to uncover for yourself. So yes, the ebook is called Uncovering Your Purpose, a guide to contribution and fulfillment in your next chapter business. Now, to get yourself a copy of that, you simply go to angelaraspass.com/purpose, surprisingly enough, and you'll be able to download that ebook. And I really encourage you to print it out, but to get some extra paper to be doing a lot of journaling and writing here. At the end of the day, or rather when you're into the ebook, you'll find there's a lovely diagram which shows the difference between passion, mission, vocation, and profession. And right at the center of all of that is purpose. Now, when I was saying, I don't want you to get all tied up in knots trying to discover what it is, or really feeling tied down by this conundrum of finding it, I want you to understand that your purpose is not your business, and your business is not your purpose. Rather, your business is just one way in which you will express that purpose. So relax. I want you to discover that thing that really stands out for you. In my case, it's the self-belief piece. And then you begin to build and wrap your business around that. And it will evolve. I've always said and continue to believe that this next chapter, whole business conundrum and scenario, is about evolutions, not revolutions. Okay, so you're going to be naturally drawn to things that you love and that matter to you and that come to you easily, or that touch your heart or inspire you, or you really want to get on a soapbox about and change things. Now, those are all part of that mosaic of you, and they are weaved into your purpose. And the questions that are in here are going to help you come to that conclusion. So there's two series in there. The first of all are questions that ask you to look back and to look for indications, for clues of purposeful actions. And also you'll be having a look at, who do you admire? Because there are certainly people that are out there in the world that come to your attention, and the ones you are drawn to, the ones you resonate with, for example, Brené Brown. There's absolutely no doubt that she is one of my most favorite authors in the world. She's definitely a way shower for me, and her vulnerability take on the world, and definitely the piece about believing in yourself, has directly influenced me. So if there are other people out there in the world, with me it's quite often authors and speakers, but it may be someone different for you. But who is it that you are drawn towards? Because I have always found there is an alignment between the people whose work inspires you and the message that they are bringing to the world, and alignment with what you feel is most important as well. That's why you're drawn to them. So there's another piece that's in there. I'm just flicking through it. What are you really good at? What do people ask for you for help with? What do people compliment you on? What have you struggled with in your own life and business? What have you overcome? Those two questions in particular, you'll find a lot of answers to in this podcast series, because the women that I'm interviewing have quite often hit up against quite catastrophic events, catastrophic good, catastrophic bad, that have opened this next chapter for them. Now, and what you've struggled with in your own life or business, what you have found a way through, what you have found a way to move through something with more ease and grace because of what you've learned, your ability to help another person do that could be very closely aligned with your purpose. So yes, lots of different questions in there. Then after you've looked at that and looked at your purpose statement, which is the beginning of this, then we move into a second set of questions that then align that with how you will build a business. Okay, so there's questions there about your positioning and designing the ideal purpose and the core issue you want to offer a solution to, and other questions that then lead you to saying, what could my business model look like? How can I wrap that around this sense of purpose so that I am delivering solutions, programs, experiences that feel really aligned with my sense of purpose? And you know the beauty of this? There is no rule book. There is no, you've got to do it this way. There is no formula. This is a framework that you work within. And this is the essence of a next chapter business, is that it is designed by you, and it is designed to fulfill you. It's designed to be sustainable and to serve you just as much as you serve your audience. I think that is vital, because when you are feeling really buoyant about your business, about the purpose of your business, then that means you will be delivering your best work because you feel really connected to the outcomes. You feel that they matter. And that's what we need in a service-based business. I feel so strongly about that. Now, if you've got this feeling of, I've been looking for it all my life and it's just so complicated and hard, again, I want to simplify that for you. Purpose, I think we try and sometimes make it far too big, far too deep, and far too complicated. Some of the purposes that I've had communicated with my clients, the simplicity of these, I think, could help clear this up a little bit for you as well. So I express mine to you. I say that my purpose statement is simply to help every person I spend time with to believe a little more in themselves and their ability to do that thing they most want to do. That's it, in a nutshell. Okay, it's about inspiration and self-belief. Some other examples. My purpose is to bring beauty to the world. That's from an artist. Makes sense, doesn't it? I help people manage trauma. I help people simplify their finances. I help to energize people by living healthily. See, really simple statements. But from there, you can just open your heart for a moment to the idea that you put that simple statement at the core of your business and you think about everything you do relating back to that core. It will really help you understand and decide what sort of free resources will I provide? What might the speech be, the TED Talk even, that I give? What might I run a webinar about? What might I write a blog post about? What might my one-on-one service be about? How might I create a retreat that delivers on that? There's so many different ways that you can actually then produce and put together those services that will be aligned with your purpose. You can probably tell I'm getting a little excited about this because this is at the heart of creating a business model that feels really good to you. Because at the end of the day, these next chapter businesses balance those two pieces: contribution, where you feel you're being of service, and fulfillment, where you feel good about that service that you're giving, where you feel good about the contribution and the impact that you're making in the world. Yes, there's another whole piece to it, which is absolutely your right to be paid well for the work that you do in the world. But I've tended to find that that comes as a result of the right actions that you bring into the world. So if we start from a purposeful intention, then we cannot help but bring good to the world and be well compensated, I think is the word that I'm looking for there, in terms of financial abundance. So that's just a wee take on a way of looking at purpose. Okay, it's to simplify it. It's to find that simple approach, that thing that feels very resonant with your heart, and then to build that business around it. Again, if you can go to the website, you'll be able to download this Next Chapter Purpose workbook. You just go to angelaraspass.com/purpose. I'd love you to share both the episode of the series and also the link to that workbook. I think it will be really helpful for you and for other women who are also asking that big question: is this it? Is there more? What is next for me in my next chapter? What is going to be at the heart and the core of my business? And I'd love to help more women step into that next chapter with confidence, with self-belief, with clarity, and hey, with a big chunk of excitement. Because if we're going to go into business for ourselves, let's make it as enjoyable as we possibly can. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the episodes that come through in this series. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, I would love to hear from you. You can always reach me on angela@angelaraspass.com, and I always read and reply to all of the emails that come through, so I'd love to hear from you as well. So enjoy the rest of your day, your morning, your evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, and I will be talking with you again very soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Pop over to angela.raspass.com to subscribe to the show and leave a review. And whilst you're there, you can also enjoy valuable free resources, including show notes and downloads, along with the Next Chapter community, where you can connect with other wholehearted women on the same journey as you. We'd love to welcome and support you as your next chapter unfolds. See you next time.